Yeah, they've got Haarp up there that creates their own aurora.
I thought I heard that place had shut down. I don't know who to believe. I keep hearing different things. No, it's not shut down. It was just temporary. No, it's been shut down for a long time. What's the story? Does anybody know?
Last time I heard, they were running 350 kW with some kind of a tremendous gain array of antennas, and they would transmit to the atmosphere and create their own aurora in the the signal strength off the antennas, to the point that after about 5 minutes they could turn their stuff off and the aurora would just stay.
Okay, well, I heard you real well, but Gary, you were saying something too. What were you saying, Gary?
I just said the upper class amateurs up in Canada can run like 2250 or 2300 watts too.
Now why did they create the aurora? Is that just as an experiment, or are they using it for radio propagation?
I think it's just a byproduct of what they were doing, trying to manipulate the atmosphere. I don't know what layer they were working on, but I think the frequencies were under 14 megahertz, and like 11 or something through there, and that they did have various transmitters that they could combine to come up to like 350 kW, maybe even hotter than that, and then go into some kind of gain antenna system. So I'm not real sure, but their ERP was just astronomical.
Very cool.
There was a guy on QSO-VLOG.com. He was, I think, a professor at University of Alaska. I can't think of the guy's call sign. I haven't been on QSO in a long time, but if you go back through, if you do a search on QSO.com about Haarp, there's a lot of stuff there that he's written, and it seems like he was what he was talking about. I think it was just ionospheric research, but the doom and gloom, paranoia, government is after us type of folks, saying that it's just so they can control our mind, read our minds, and a bunch of nonsense.
Well, you never can tell, from the standpoint of like microwaves have decided effects on human bodies. They can cook a body inside out in no time, with sufficient power, and the power that those guys were running, God knows what they could do to the detriment, because it was the blind leading the blind. It was just a gigantic experiment, and anytime you have tremendous power and very efficient radiation system, so your ERP is astronomical, you have no concept of what you may be destroying.
Igor, through switch. Mastery.
Probably, trying to disrupt the rain over Spain or Russia.
I thought that was mainly on the plane.
It was.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
And doesn't Iranian pain come mainly from Khomeini? Oh no, that was a while ago.
Maybe it was the rain over Iran.
Well, you don't know what to believe. Somebody wearing a tinfoil hat kind of a person says something on the internet, and pretty soon they got 50,000 followers. So it must be. They all believe it. So it must be true. Yeah, right.
I think it should be a law that anytime anybody puts something on the internet, they should start by the date that they put it there, you know, because there's so much stuff that's undated and you have no idea, you know, what's relevant, hardly.
Full of garbage. Why do you think that? Because it's too easy to do, technically. It's completely simple. There's no reason why they wouldn't. And sure enough, it all comes out, and now everyone realizes that.
I think we doubled. Could you repeat?
Oh, I was just saying that I predicted the whole Snowden thing in 1995. You know, I said that the government is listening to everything that we do online and recording it and monitoring all our emails and everything. And people would say, no, you're crazy. I'd say, well, look, I know how all these things work technically, and I know that that is absolutely trivial to do. So, of course they're doing it because it's so easy. And sure enough, it comes out they are. You know, I mean, some of these conspiracy things actually turn out true. A lot of them are just insane, of course.
What are you doing?
Monitoring all of our email and phone conversations, you know, a la Edward Snowden's release about, what, 5 years ago now?
Well, the real problem was not the ascertaining of the information, but the having the manpower to go back and actually listen to some of that. I mean, they were just constantly pulling it in, but they had no ability to actually have anywhere near the manpower needed to actually listen to any of it.
Where the hell you get your information?
Well, I mean, it's true. You know, can you imagine the input of all the cell phones in the country recording those? I mean, how many people would it take to go through all that stuff?
Information awareness.
Well, why don't you come to the realization that they don't use humans to do that. They use freaking computers.
Yeah, but computers, you know, it takes a humanoid to actually put everything together. Now they can use keywords and stuff like that, but they can't. I don't think they can quite cipher. Well, Steve, can they cipher the meaning of something?
Steve's not going to get into this particular conversation because I know way too much about it.
That's way me, and I know too much too, so I'm getting the hell out of it. And you need to go do some research.
I couldn't copy there. Is that Frank?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what it all boils down to. There's no buns in ice cream, and banana is a big yellow thief.
Well, if they, you know, could cipher everything, then what happened on 9/11? You know.
There's another one I'm not going to comment on, but I will say this much about it. Don't fool yourself in how much stuff we can cipher through and how quickly we can do it.
Given today's AI algorithms, basically neural networks, it's easy enough to tie things together to form linkages that can tie two people together, and then a human can look into that and go, oh, this guy is tied to all these different pathways to this other guy, or, you know, I mean, there are lots of different ways. So basically, you know, they set up a ranking system for basically a threat level for each person based on a number of criteria by simply running computer programs against the data sets. It's all real easy to do these days, so I'm sure they're doing it.
Roger, but I'm talking about like ciphering, say, what you and I are talking about on the telephone. You know, we're, you know, concerned that Big Brother's listening, but our, well, I guess my importance on the screen is just not even a blip, you know.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, they are employing speech recognition software to convert that into stuff that the computers can process, but that is a much bigger task. So my guess is they only go back and do that when they need to. But as computers become faster, they could be doing that to everything. And I also assume, because it would be trivial to do, that everything that we say on the air on amateur radio is recorded forever by the NSA, because all they have to do is set up FBRs in a bunch of different places and record them and even triangulate the signals too. You know, I mean, again, it's trivial, so I'm sure they're doing it. It wouldn't cost anything.
Well, I just hope that they can stay ahead of the curve as far as you know, detecting what some folks are saying, you know, and you know, being able to put the knowledge in effect to try to circumvent the situations.
Well, if they're going to do it, I certainly hope that it works to positive outcome. Yeah, and I think that a lot of it does and has. But also think we have to, we got to be mindful of the Fourth Amendment as well, and be careful about those things too.
Roger, and you know, all of the effort that they're putting into you know, folks flying and all of the delays that can you imagine the cum time delay cost that it is costing people when they're traveling by air? You know, it's unfortunate that they can't have some kind of a situation there that you know, could minimize all those time delays that folks have when traveling by air.
Well, their supposed solution to that was the TSA pre-check and stuff like that to take care of those checks ahead of time. However, if you ask me, most of that TSA stuff is what we call security theater. It is just to make people feel better. It doesn't really achieve much. And the TSA consistently fails tests for simple things like, you know, testers literally bringing guns in that the TSA doesn't even pick up on a large percentage of the time. So I don't know. It doesn't bother me. Honestly, I'd rather have armed pilots and armed air marshal.
Roger. Roger, and hopefully, you know, they put some steel on those cockpit doors.
I think it doubled with speed. And yeah, steel on the cockpit doors, you know, I kind of have two feelings about that. One, that's a good thing. But two, if the pilots become ill, that's a real bad thing because no one can get in there. Because I'm sure I could land the plane with no problem. But if I can't get in the door, it's not going to be of any use.
And I said I'd rather carry my own gun.
Well, that's a good point too, Steve, and I think that might make us even safer, but I doubt that's ever going to happen.
Getting a little adjacent channel QRM.
Have a good night.
Well, I'm having trouble copying lots of stations tonight. Who was that, Steve?
That was Jamie there in the middle of Ohio. He's only 100 watts. He's a little rough to copy sometimes.
Okay. Yeah, well, you're coming in strong. Jim is just blowing the doors off. Gary was doing okay, but got a real high noise level tonight. Kind of annoying.
Are you copying any of that adjacent channel QRM?
Yeah, off and on a little bit.
See if it was coming from above or below, but it sounded like deep voices, so I guess it's coming from above.
The rest of it was above. I don't know what it was, but it was there and then gone.
Yeah, Steve, you're running a pan adapter?
I'm running an SDR radio.
Can you see the whole band?
Not the whole band, but I can see down to about 3820 up to about 3920 or 30.
Close enough.
There's AM stuff. There's stuff up at 2920, 2930, somewhere in there, and there's one little shot in between there, about 3915 or somewhere thereabouts. There's a little bit of stuff. Without sitting up here looking and paying attention real close, I'm not paying attention to exactly where it's at. It's not on top of us right now.
Roger, roger. Well, on your pan adapter AM station, just as a solid line?
Yeah, there's an AM signal coming in there every once in a while that's pretty stout.
It's probably down in Tennessee.
See the solid line for the carrier, but then you see the modulation on either side of the solid line. So you can kind of think of it as an oscilloscope turned vertically.
Oh, so AM, you see squigglies on both sides of a center line?
Yes.
Yep, and then with sideband you see it go just one direction, and no carrier, of course.
Roger. So then you don't know actually whether they're on the left side or the right side?
It depends on how strong the voice is. You know, if it's way compressed so that it essentially just makes a rectangular pattern, then you can't tell. But if it has a lot of variances in the modulation, then you can see it's harder on one edge, which is usually the edge that would have the carrier.
Roger. They must be about 3 kc off, because I'm just catching the syllabic range globals.
They're on 85, and you're hearing them off of 85.
Wow, they are splattering a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of times the AM stations from 85 splatter way up here.
Sometimes they go clear up to 3940.
That's high fidelity on ham. 20 kc wide.
I've actually recorded a few that have been 97K wide.
Gary, did you say that was HLR down there now?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's always real wide.
I copied 2 stations one night. One was 90-something wide, and the other one was about 60-something wide. And that was a real entertaining evening. You couldn't talk nowhere. They covered the whole damn general portion of the band.
I think I hear Winona, Minnesota there.
Yeah, good evening, Kelly. I just barely heard you in there, bud. I'll say good evening to you. I can't copy enough to talk to you, but I did hear you.
I heard you for a moment there, Kelly, but then you dropped off. 30 OKF. Oh, there you are. Yeah, you're actually not bad here with the headphones on. Wow. Double wow. Did you hear that, Steve? He's running a 7-foot ham stick inside with 100 watts, I assume.
Oh, my God. That's crazy. And I heard him for a brief second, but I did hear him. That's insane. 120 W8OO.
Okay, 0, okay.
Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor.
There you go, Gary. That's dedication. A 7-foot ham stick inside the house to talk on the radio.
WW8N. Yeah, it's about like Bill on his boat.
Yeah. Hey, Jim, can you tell us what station you used to work for, or if you don't want to, what part of the country it was in?
Louisville, WHAS 8 850, 840. Been a while. They're 50K.
And that was Whiskey Alpha, Juliet Sierra?
Whiskey WHAS is in how.
Oh, okay, cool. I was just curious where it was.
Yeah, I was production director from 1970 to 79. I managed to get out before Clear Channel, iHeart.
That whole Clear Channel thing, when was that late?
You got killed by QRM. Try again.
When did the whole Clear Channel thing start, or when did they start buying stations? Is that the late 80s?
I'm not sure, not real sure. Like I say, that came after my tenure. I was in a recording studio after I left HAS for 30 years. When I left HAS, I had more customers than they did. And so it was a good run for 30 years, and it was a broadcast-oriented production studio, not an open studio, just for pretty much for radio and TV commercials.
Oh, okay, very cool. Well, it looks like Clear Channel was actually founded in 1972. I don't know when they started buying stuff, but I had no idea it was that old.
Yeah, it took them a while to get going. I don't think they really started getting going until, oh gosh, I don't know, after the 80s, you know, maybe 85 or so.
Okay. Yeah, they own billboards too. I see, most of the billboards around here had their markings on them for a very long time.
Roger. Yeah, that's the only entity of that conglomerate that makes any money. They made just recently, well, they made like $5 million. The billboard aspect of Clear Channel, and then the parent company tried to put the $5 million in some kind of an account in Belize, I think. And the creditors for Clear Channel got wind of it, and they went to a judge and said that Clear Channel was trying to make an illegal move, and that they demanded their outstanding investment to be paid in full immediately. And there's a big rustle about that, you know.
Well, good for them.
They got a judge to do a stay, so nobody could do anything, you know, and Clear Channel continues on. I'm sorry, iHeartRadio. And they also have, at one time, they had, ever hear that story about 100 monkeys typing things, in gibberish, and pretty soon one of them's going to hit on something important. Well, I think iHeart Clear Channel had exercised, there's a thing called denial of service, and that is that if you want to get at a company that relies on the internet, you just jam their service with all kinds of BS, to the point that nobody else can get in. Well, I think iHeart Clear Channel was doing a thing on like Google, that they would put like maybe 10,000 items on Google on a weekly basis, and they would keep stacking this stuff on Google, that if you were to go to Google and request something about the status of iHeartRadio or Clear Channel or something like that, you would come up with this reference of Clear Channel iHeartRadio in Argentina doing a new tune called Bankrupt in the City. All these keywords, they were incorporated in some kind of BS thing that you could never actually get down to any information about them because they had put all this BS stuff on the internet.
Yeah, lots of people are doing that kind of thing these days. That's pretty frightening when big companies are doing that.
Well, they know that the first thing somebody's going to Google is them, to find out what's going on. So they just, in a true form of denial of service, just flood it with all kinds of BS. And they, like I say, they have entities all around the world, Clear Channel this, concerts, and they would tie all of these things in with Clear Channel, and then they would tie some mundane piece of information to it, like bankrupt or receivership or, all these things that you never could get anything. Now, I think it's a little bit different now. I think they've run out of money to be able to afford to do things like that.
Hey, Gary, where were you the past couple of nights? Were you got a new girlfriend?
No, been really tired lately. I don't know why, but I was here early, and then I thought I'd be around, and by 11 o'clock I just couldn't keep my eyes open, so I just go to bed.
Well, sometimes that's just what you got to do. Yeah, I've been tired lately. I was working out in the yard on all these leaves we have, and that's just a slow proposition.
Yeah, I meant to be here, but oh well. They had a lot of turkey. They say when you eat turkey, it makes you sleep.
That's right.
Gives me a headache.
How about ham?
Gave me a headache.
That sounds like a personal problem.
How about ham, Steve? Do you ever have a reaction to that?
I haven't so far, but I've not tried it yet.
Oh, you didn't have any ham for Thanksgiving?
Oh, I thought you was talking about Viagra. Yeah, I had some ham. You have to clarify what you're talking about on here, Jim.
So I see, said the blind man.
A bunch of extremely literal people.
Not this crew.
So I guess a ham stick has a totally different meaning in your playbook, Steve.